Okay.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Caleb.
It's your boy, Wraith.
And I'm Natica.
And this is the Love First podcast. We have a very exciting episode for you. We're talking about the Joe Rogan controversies. We're talking about the Whoopi Goldberg controversy. We're also talking about Rihanna and A$AP Rocky starting a family. And then we're going to talk about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine and the latest updates on that, a whole lot more. So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if y'all watching on YouTube. Make sure y'all like the video, shoot us a comment, like us on Facebook, and all of that. Stay tuned for this exciting episode.
East Coast, know I'm rocking with y'all. West Coast, know I'm rocking with y'all. North side, know I'm rocking with y'all. South side, know I'm rocking with y'all. I'm still riding with my day cause I'm rocking with y'all. Old County, put your hands.
And we're back. Before we get started, we have to let y'all know the Love First TV app is finally here. It is here.
Yay! Gotta get the soundboard, yo.
I got you. That sound is there. They heard it.
Yeah.
It's on Apple App Store, right? For anyone with an iOS device. And it's on the Google Play Store. And just give us about a month and you'll also be able to get it on Amazon. So it's going down. This is the Elevation app where we use entertainment to educate you guys. We're here to coach you guys to success. So this app is a coaching app where we coach you guys to success. We also have entertainment, a couple things like that. You know what, guys? Let's give them a little sneak preview into the app just so they can see what's up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you come into the app and you download it on the store, here's what you do. You go to the Discover page. The first thing you're going to see is join the future where dreams come true. We're here to help you make your dreams come true. You click get started and it brings you down to choose your plan, right? Right now, our most popular plan is the Love First annual plan. I think it's popular because you save 17%. It's only $50 for the year. Everything's included. Podcasts, news, favorite videos, all this stuff. Finance channel, how to get your credit. It's all up there. Just 17% off. If you want to go the monthly route, it's only $5. The good part about it is you get a month free trial. So you actually get to try it out for a month, check out all the content. You don't got to pay nothing. If you like it, you're going to stay. I feel like you're going to stay because this is what's going to elevate you. So, but again, we got that month free trial because we believe in this. We know you're going to be excited. So all you have to do is just pick a plan that unlocks all the content. To unlock the content, you go to the Learn page. That's where we have all the videos. We have our Love First podcast you could try. We have tutorials, right? All types of tutorials. We got for online creators, how to build your YouTube channel, how to move up the corporate ladder, makeup tutorials, hair tutorials, music tutorials, video game tutorials coming soon, and academic tutorials. So it's going down. But back to the Learn page, we have our finance channel, our favorite videos, couples games, web series, inspiration, music videos, and a very special addition to the ASMR channel. This is a major key. A lot of people that have sleep deprivation, these are videos that can help you go to sleep at night. And all these videos you can watch offline. So you can do other stuff while you're, you don't have to have the app open for this stuff. So you can still hear it and play, do other stuff on your phone, lay down. And this stuff will help you go to sleep. I actually used it to go to sleep last night. And now I'm fresh like a baby,
It's like a baby.
A major key to success was getting rest. We talked to CEOs that have billions of dollars, millions of dollars. The same thing they said was that getting rest is what's going to help you perform better. And that's a key to success. We also have your wake up alert, your breaking news. So guys, it's really going down. It's about to be crazy. Make sure you download the Love First TV app today. Download it, then subscribe to a plan. You're going to love it. If it doesn't change your life, send me a message. I want to know why. But it's going to change your life. It changed our lives already. It's going down. Let's get into the topics. So I was about to say Wraith, so your girl Rihanna, but I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yo, you kind of bro.
Rihanna, this is you, Rihanna. Rihanna in the plane. That's an inside joke. But so Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, right? They actually just broke the internet. They announced that Rihanna is expecting her first child with A$AP Rocky. She's having a baby. Congratulations to Rihanna. I think everybody is wondering, how does Drake feel?
I'm low key
bang,
mad, man.
bang,
Now let me
bang,
stop, man.
He about to get in trouble.
You chose violence today.
Yo, my shorty about to come upstairs and start arguing.
She said, what you mad at? For real. But a lot of people were mad at A$AP Rocky. They say he was getting some hate because there's a lot of people that just really love Rihanna out there. But I mean, I think it's a dope story. They've been on and off for a minute. You know what I mean? They finally together. We'll see. Hopefully they get married and really like complete the family thing. But
who knows?
How do you think Drake feels though? Because I know people were asking because Drake has always been in love with her making songs and stuff.
Well, there were screenshots that Drake unfollowed both A$AP Rocky and Rihanna on Instagram. Like people spotted that like real quick. There's screenshots out there. Like you can look it up, maybe put it on the podcast, but like
I got you.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, it's getting spicy in here.
Drake said, oh.
all that ran through my head when I seen that was that song was like, I get lonely too. You know that song that he got?
Yeah. I know this one.
That's the song that ran through my head. Like
that's crazy. Because in my head, I was like, yo, you know, he probably heard about that because he always been so in love with her. But then he had a baby first. So you can't really like, you know what I mean, say anything. Like she had to deal with the baby. But I mean, that's interesting. He unfollowed and Drake, you know, was cool with A$AP Rocky. Like they did songs together and all types of stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, they should.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well, apparently.
They should still be
life-changing feature, but it's hard to have some babies.
It's like keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer type of thing.
Facts.
Yo, that's gonna be a flawless looking baby though.
Yo, for real. They don't have a lot of style.
Yeah, there was this one meme going around. It was of like New York saying, oh shoot, I'm trying to remember. It was like, Rihanna's my mom. It was like the baby when she's born or when the baby's born, like Rihanna's my mom. Anyway, it's around. I gotta find that meme because it's hilarious.
We'll put that up too. For real. But that's you know, exciting news. A lot of people ain't really talking to. I guess Rihanna's taking over the news lines, but Kylie Jenner just had another baby with Travis Scott, so they just had their second baby. So also shout out to them on that. Congratulations. It's baby season. Everyone's having babies.
Are they even in a relationship?
Who?
I don't think so. They said they got one already. Let's just do it. Let's just go.
Kylie and Travis Scott.
Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner.
When they taking a break from each other?
Yeah, man. Not
you take a break to get have a child.
So we took a break, but you know, when they hit that 3 a.m., they gotta.
I mean, I guess when you got money like that, you can take a break. You know,
just have babies, have some babies. But let's get into the controversy that I know everybody is tuned in for. Want to know, Joe Rogan. Man, we came here to talk about one controversy, but before we could even do that, a second one popped up. So let's kind of dive into the first one. The first one is he's gotten a lot of backlash. They're saying that on his podcast, Joe Rogan contributes to vaccine information. And it's usually he has guests on that, and they disagree with the mainstream thought is with the vaccinations and things of that nature. So Neil Young was one of the first out of the major artists to be like, look, I don't want to be on a platform that he's on. If he's on Spotify, take all my music off Spotify. So they did that. They kept Joe Rogan. They signed a $100 million deal with Joe Rogan, so I don't think Joe Rogan's going anywhere for a while. But
yeah.
After Neil Young left, a couple artists did follow behind him. Then another controversy came out that made India Arie take her music off, and that was due to a compilation video coming out of Joe Rogan repeatedly using the N-word with ER2, not with the A, so it kind of makes it even worse. But
yeah.
So
wow.
So he has that, and then he also compares seeing a movie in a black neighborhood to being inside the Planet of the Apes. So it's not looking good for you boys, Joe Rogan. But we're gonna talk about it. What's going on? Who wants to kick it off with their reaction?
I just want to say, as far as like the Spotify thing,
yeah,
you know, I think me and Katie Don kind of seen this coming.
mm-hmm.
Just for the simple fact of, you know, everybody's starting to realize like how much money they should be getting or how much recognition they should be getting, and Spotify just literally hoodwinking everybody.
Facts. All these places, man. All these places,
like literally hoodwinking everybody. You know, and it's not like everybody has the intellect or mindset to be like, you know what, I want to get like an exclusive deal.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting paid. Because, you know, Rogan's getting an exclusive deal from Spotify. That's kind of different. As opposed to you just getting paid from them. And you know, if you're getting an exclusive deal, you're having a different kind of conversation with Spotify, with the people that work there. You know, if you just have a lot of monthly listeners and your account is very active, you're not really seeing the same money as somebody that got an exclusive deal.
Right.
More close.
So automatically that right there, if you're an artist that, you know, if you have a lot of monthly listeners, that right there is gonna turn you off. Like, I should have an exclusive deal. And that's probably what people are saying, you know. Where's my exclusive deal? I'm bringing in a lot of revenue to y'all. I'm bringing a lot of attention to your app, you know. So to your, not even your app, your platform at this point, like, so it's like.
So how do you feel about them saying, you know, like the backlash, before we get into the second controversy, how do you feel about like the backlash of them saying he's giving out misinformation on the vaccines?
As far as the misinformation, can you explain a little bit more about what he's been saying about the vaccine?
So the crazy part is, it's not even really him. He actually has other doctors on there that have credentials. They're real doctors. And what it is that they've been disagreeing with the mainstream thought processes with the vaccines, right? Like they said, you know, they've seen people getting certain types of sick, or you could be okay without necessarily having this. And the mainstream media and the corporations have an issue with this because they're doing this vaccine push campaign. And they're like, you have a large platform and you're stopping us from really getting all these vaccines in by, you know, giving a platform to this type of thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had episodes where we've got different perspectives on the vaccine. I think it's, you know, I think it's cool to have people on your platform that have different perspectives on the vaccine. And I also think it's okay to have your own opinion on if you feel like the vaccine works or not. And you feel like it should be a mandate. Obviously, like the most controversial basketball player, Kyrie, he's not vaccinated, you know. And there was a lot of controversy around Kyrie, and you know, he doesn't play every single game. And obviously, the Nets have to pay for that. I think it's worth it because it's Kyrie Irving. But after every single game, the reporters always ask him about him getting vaccine. They always ask Kevin Durant, you know, and KD has even come out and said, yo, I'm not going to convince somebody to get a needle. I'm not going to convince somebody to get a shot. Like, that's their own decision. That's their own choice. And I think the way Rogan is set up, the way his mindset is set up, I think he's on the same plane of like, you know, you do what you want to, not, you know, this should be a mandate for everybody because not everybody wants this vaccine, you know? And I think trying to force it on people, and, you know, we live in a country where we're supposed to have, you know, free will. You know, trying to force a mandate on people is sounds a little bit psychotic.
I agree with you because like I feel like we should get an opportunity for both sides to speak as long as they're credible, right? If you just have random people saying things on a major platform, no, you know what I mean? But if it is credible to have the discussion, I think it is okay. And even in his apology, what he said he'll work to do better is have both opposing sides on there. The reason why I think he didn't have both sides is because the mainstream media is only really pushing one side. So he's like, well, let me kind of counter that conversation with this, because it didn't feel like there's a real conversation. It's just like, this is what it is. Like me personally, I think we both agree we're happy the vaccines exist, because there are a lot of people super vulnerable, and it at the very least, it gives them peace of mind to live their life and come outside. You know, I kind of disagree with mandates and everyone being forced to do something. I do think it should be a choice, and people need to step up and make the right choice for the situation that they're in, you know?
Yeah, because at that point, you're basically just trying to control the masses.
Yeah, there's no choice in the conversation. Exactly.
You don't want people to think for themselves, you know?
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Natica, on that?
So as someone who is like triple vaccinated, like I also understand how would I say this? Like when the vaccines came out, I was just like, I need to get vaccinated like now. And I wasn't doing it just for myself, but I was also thinking about like the people around me, like people I care about. I didn't want to potentially expose them if I got sick, you know, and like I remember when I got my vaccine, my mom and sister asked me, so does this mean that we don't wear masks anymore? And I'm like, no, we just keep wearing a mask, because like we're kind of entering in a way a social experiment, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, people could say like, oh, well, you know, the vaccine might cause certain effects and like, you don't know what's in it, but it's just like, some of these same people would probably like do drugs off of a toilet seat. So it's just not like, you know, it's not like we don't take risks, you know, it's not like we don't permanently change our bodies. Like when people do plastic surgery or like get a pacemaker, whatever you call it, or like, you know, they're like practically cyborgs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like with Joe Rogan, I mean, he's had people of like different sides on his podcast, and he's had his podcast for years now.
Yeah.
And it's like people are only paying attention to him now because he has the exclusivity with Spotify, and like he also has had people like Ben Shapiro and like other controversial figures, and like it's good to have different sides. It's good to be able to like have those different perspectives, because being in an echo chamber doesn't help anyone. And if you don't like Joe Rogan, don't listen to him. I mean, like I used to listen to him. I loved listening to him and Joey Diaz like talk on the podcast, and like sometimes I'll be like, all right, what does Elon Musk have to say? You know, it's just like but if you disagree, if you can't handle him, like if you can't stand him, don't listen to him. Like just don't, you know? Like for me, it was like Joe Rogan. The first thing I thought of Joe Rogan was I used to watch Factor, and like I remember when he had hair and he was like telling people to eat like bull testicles and like lie in like a coffin with cockroaches. Like that was my first impression of Joe Rogan. And like now he's become like this huge figure. And the more people talk crap about him, the more attention he's gonna get. Like it's only helping his case, and it's only fueling like people in the right wing to just kind of like be like, hey, come to our side. Because like now you got reports of like Trump telling Joe Rogan, oh, don't be apologetic, come join my app, you know.
For real. Yo. So now the second controversy. Now this one's pretty major. This is where a compilation video has came out. He's saying the N-word with ER multiple times. I mean, yo, the compilation looks horrible. Like it's like so many times that they caught him saying it.
It's damning.
Then in the end, he talks about going to see like Black Panther or something, right? And then he went to a Black neighborhood, and he's like, yo, when we stepped out, like we were in the Planet of the Apes, like we were in Africa. And I'm like, yeah, at first, I mean, nothing, you can't justify any of this, but it was crazy because at first I thought he was seeing Planet of the Apes. So maybe he was trying to do like a reference, but he wasn't even seeing Planet of the Apes. I think he was seeing Black Panther and said he was in Planet of the Apes. And it's, you know, because he was in a Black neighborhood. Then he took it back instantly while he was talking. He's like, you know what, that sounds racist, you know. He did do an apology statement about that, and he said he's not going to continue to use that word, and he will work on learning and informing himself. I know there's a lot of people that want to cancel. I'll even kick it off with my reaction to this, because I think I don't have a mainstream reaction when it comes to it. So I kind of look at the war over the battle, right? Now, this is the battle with this controversy, this second controversy. I feel like the war, everything I feel like is connected to the COVID misinformation, right? Because the media is against that. Plus, there's a lot of companies making money, even though the vaccine is free to us. Between the government and these companies, there's billions and billions of dollars being transferred, you know, for this situation. So I feel like it's really an effort and a campaign to cancel this man rather than do this. And what makes me feel that way is because none of this happened in the past year or two. You know what I'm saying? This just seemed to get brought up when they're like, yo, this misinformation thing is going down. Okay, people aren't really canceling him as much as we thought they would. And now this video comes out. I 100% disagree with everything he said in that video. I don't rock with it. You shouldn't be talking like that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then you're in a public space. So I don't even know why that energy wasn't presented to him before. Like when he first, before Spotify signed it. You know what I mean? Because they bought his whole library and content. You know,
that's the same thought that came to my head. Like, why wasn't this addressed before? Why before he got the, you know, the exclusive deal and everything? And I just feel like it's just to shift focus and attention and to, you know, this COVID thing about how he feels about the vaccines and how he's not pushing it. They're just gonna use that video as ammo, you know, to try and get him out of here. Yeah. And that's perfect. That's perfect the way you wrote it, the way you worded it is just, you know, this should have been addressed a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
If you think about it, Spotify is based in Sweden. Like, what's the majority demographic of people living in Sweden? You know, Caucasian. I mean, there are people of different ethnicities living in Sweden, but like the majority of people living in Sweden.
Yeah.
They're not going to think about that, you know. They're probably like, oh, cool. Popular dude, millions of listens on YouTube. Great, let's sign him up. Like,
without even listening to the content, which is crazy, because when y'all spend that money, y'all need to figure out what y'all spending money on. But my thing is, I don't want to disregard. I just want people to focus on the war, not necessarily this, but I don't want to disregard what he said. Like, that should never have been said. And then it's like, I don't even want to hear him say it like with the A, but definitely not with no ER. Like, that's just so disturbing to hear. And you know, so the stuff being said, I'm shocked because I do like Joe Rogan for the fact that he gives opposite opinion. Like, I'm the type of person, I will listen to CNN and Fox News because I like to hear contrasting opinion. And sometimes I'll be disturbed by the stuff that I hear, but I at least want to hear contrasting opinions on something instead of always having the same. And that's why we created this platform, to be independent thinkers. So even if mainstream media ain't talking about it, we're here to talk about it. So I just don't want people to lose focus that he did bring people with credibility to discuss these topics, right? But as far as this, should have never happened. And I think we're canceling people. So I think that he needs to be educated. He needs to show us what he's doing to educate himself on this topic. I think he needs to be involved in the community and charities of the people that he talked about. Like, work on giving back, be surrounded by these people, getting understanding of why you should have never said that word in the first place, let alone do it in a public arena. Because if you feel that comfortable to do it publicly, then off camera, it's probably crazy. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he's not racist, because I feel like, you know, people think this way in his head, you know, but it's hard to defend. Like, I'm not here to defend that. Like, that's on him, because that whole thing makes me uncomfortable, but I don't want it to take away from the good in the conversations that he does bring to the table. So that's just my stance on it.
Yeah, he does bring a lot of good conversations to the table, and he do be having a lot of motivating things to say. That helps out millions of people that watch the show. But yeah, like you mentioned, like if there's a whole video of him saying that, can you imagine off camera?
Oh man.
but I also feel like people need to stop acting like just because he's this, you know, like sort of like superstar that he can't make mistakes.
Right.
You know, everybody's imperfect. Nobody that's born on this planet is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, everybody makes mistakes, and people that are also imperfect need to stop acting like
right.
that celebrities can't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
educate. And it's crazy because, like, to me, it's like they be holding Joe Rogan and his podcast more accountable than these news outlets, because these news outlets just be saying whatever sometimes.
News outlets be saying whatever.
Let me get into these politicians, and it's like y'all holding him more accountable than them. So, guys, let's get our priorities together and let's focus on educating instead of cancel. You know what I'm saying? Educate first. And this is a Black man saying this about something that I didn't like what he said. And I'm saying we need to educate over canceling, you know?
Thanks.
Speaking of educate over canceling, Whoopi Goldberg, right? she said something.
Yo, people say a lot of controversial things.
Whoopi Goldberg kind of getting it the worst though, which is crazy. But so the Whoopi Goldberg controversy is y'all know what she said? I'm gonna pull up the exact article.
She said that the Holocaust was not about race.
Right.
Yes. So, and now she's actually been suspended from the show, I believe without pay, right? So she's
because of her comments, right?
And after she did an apology, right? So she did an apology. I'm not exactly sure why she would necessarily say that, you know, and that's something I really got to dive into the video and hear, like, what would make you say that? Because we know what the Holocaust was about, but the fact that she came out and apologized and was like, I'm going to educate myself on this, and then for her to be suspended, and you have different things like, you know, the Joe Rogan controversy, even he's not suspended, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we have other people saying worse things, and she's literally coming back saying, you know what? That's not what I meant. And use the word, I'm actually going to educate myself on this topic. You know what I mean? And it to the point that she's suspended, like there's even people behind the scenes that feel like there's just some executives at ABC that there's just probably just been a long-term issue with, and then they use that opportunity to suspend her. But it got her to a point that she's even talking about quitting, you know? So I'm curious, you know, we'll start with Natica, like what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
First of all, I think it's really funny that, like, okay, Whoopi Goldberg, like her last name is a stage name. Like that's not her actual last name, right? That's not her government last name.
It's a Jewish stage name,
yeah. And it's just like ironic that like this whole thing happened. And like, while I understand why she said that, like the fact is, you know, the Nazis treated the whole Jewish population as a race. Mm-hmm. And not just Jewish people, but there were also like other groups, other ethnic groups that were persecuted, like, you know, the Romani people and like the LGBTQ people. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a smaller percentage, but like they targeted certain demographics, you know, and they were considered as a race, which is like, or they were like targeted based on like phenotypes and stuff and things that weren't based in science, you know. And like the thing is, even though Jewish people aren't necessarily a race, it's like a whole culture, and like it's a culture bonded by trauma, like literally generational trauma, like the whole history of the Jewish people is like they try to kill us and we survived, you know. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of parallels between other cultures as well. So for her to say that, she wasn't thinking.
Saying you gotta tread lightly when you talking about somebody that exterminated 6 million. 6 million. Like you gotta choose your words wisely.
It's a very sensitive topic, and like there are Holocaust deniers. Like there's people out there that don't think that the Holocaust happened, and like we still have Holocaust survivors. This was like less than 100 years ago. It's still pretty fresh. Yeah. So, you know, it still hits a sore spot for a lot of people. Yeah,
Germany itself is still recovering. Like, there's still laws against them because of the whole situation, you know? So, yeah.
She said it's not about race, it's about man's inhumanity to man. She said it's not about race, it's about man's inhumanity to man.
I mean, I kind of get what she said, but yeah, you have to be careful. Like you said, he exterminated over 6 million people. Like, you have to be careful when you talk about that. And then you're on a Jewish-owned network saying these things. So, I mean, I get maybe that's not what she meant. That is super inhumane. But you do got to be careful with that because he did treat the Jewish like a race, and he wanted to make a new.
They were targeted.
Blue eyes, you know.
Yeah, so they were targeted.
They were definitely targeted.
You should have said it's about race and it's also about inhumanity to man.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You should have added that. Like
I'm pretty sure, like, you know, Hitler didn't pass over like black people. It's like, no, I'm just looking for the Jewish people. Where they he's like, yo, if you don't have these blue eyes and this and that, you're out, you know what I mean? But we have to know that these were the main people that were hurt, that were targeted in the situation. You know, like slavery, there could have been other people that were slaves, but we know African Americans were the main targets of it. You know what I mean? Right. So definitely, you know, tread lightly. But again, I don't think she deserved the suspension after coming with that apology, because I think we've seen in Whoopi Goldberg's character, she is not a fake person that's just gonna, I'm gonna just say an apology for my job. No, like we've seen how stern she is in her whole career. She's gonna speak her mind, what she believes, and she came out and was like, that's not what I should have said. I'm gonna educate myself. I'm gonna do better. So to do all that, and to the point that she's talking about quitting the show, it makes me feel like there's extra friction going on behind the scenes beyond that. But
yeah, but I mean, like, The View has been in the news for like controversy and just like general friction between people. I mean, like, Meghan McCain was on the show for a while and like everyone hated her.
When you have the one Republican in the liberal space.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But that's why I like everyone has to stop fighting, like, you know, disagreeing sides. And I'm just talking about Meghan, not the Whoopi Goldberg situation. But just like, you know, we need to, like, I have Republican and Democratic friends, and I love to get their opinions, and we don't have to hate each other because we think differently. You know what I mean? Let's educate each other. You know,
I just hope she actually educates herself, her and Joe Rogan, and they're not just saying that to, you know, make sure them checks are still coming in.
Yeah,
you know, like, I think about how, like, if you're gonna make a statement as bold as that, like, you have to make a really good point. And I'm thinking about both Whoopi Goldberg and Joe Rogan. For example, South Park. Like, I grew up watching South Park, and there's this one particular episode that comes to mind, where they were making fun of Michael Richards saying the N-word in a comedy, like, stand-up. And then basically the entire episode, they basically said the N-word like so many times, but they were trying to prove a point. Like, I don't know if you watched that episode. I don't know which episode. I don't know if you guys know which episode I'm talking about, if you have seen it, but watch it.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's like, it did make me uncomfortable, but at the same time, I was like, I see what was the point they were trying to make, because like, they're bold like that. Like, Trey Parker and Matt Stone like to push buttons. Yeah. So like, if you're going to say something controversial, like, make a point. Neither of them did.
Yeah. And it's crazy. When I think about the South Park episode, right, with the N-word, right, there's one that comes to my mind. It's so hilarious, right? They had this guy, he was playing Wheel of Fortune, right? And then they said,
yes, oh yeah.
They're like, name something that annoys you, right? And it had like N, then a blank spot is like GG, RS or something, GGARS, right? So something. I forgot how
the word was nagger.
Yeah, it was nagger, right? Yeah, oh yeah, that's what it was. So they had N, then they had the blank spot, right? GG ER, right? And they're like, all right, to win the prize, what is the answer? Name something that I know you. And he was like, man, uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to say. They're like, this is for all the money right here. Name something that I know. And he said the N-word. They're like, no, the correct answer is nagger. That came to my head, man. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I like that was the first thing I thought when I heard about the whole Joe Rogan N-word controversy. Just like Randy, man.
Bananas. Let's get into some serious news that I want to say I predicted. We actually gonna play this clip. I gotta find the clip. We're gonna put this in the episode. But U.S. versus Russia versus Ukraine, right?
Oh yeah.
Now we came out of Afghanistan pretty sloppy. On that episode, I literally said, we are not leaving Afghanistan to bring our troops home and give them peace of mind and let them get comfortable. If we are bringing this many troops home and we're doing something like this, it's to reposition them. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to a point where they're talking about things escalating in Ukraine with Russia. They're surrounding the border to the point that they expect in February for there to be some type of military strike for them to come at Ukraine. And now Joe Biden just ordered 3,000 troops, you know what I mean, to Europe and to be on alert and things of that nature. We don't want to have a direct war with Russia, but they want to show a power stance with the NATO allies. So all these troops that we were just taking out of Afghanistan are just getting repositioned. That's why I keep telling people how the government works. Like, we don't stumble into wars. This is so pre-planned out. Everybody knows and they're prepping this way. So the troops just got repositioned. Now, as far as Russia and Ukraine, I don't agree with any other country taking over another country's free will. So I'll start by saying that. But just to play the advocate, right, of both sides, something I think sometimes as Americans, we kind of tend to ignore. The Soviet Union was a big thing that got broken up in the past, right? Ukraine was part of that. Yeah. Now, NATO is a European US alliance that were basically countering Russia, right? America does have a habit of like, we like to have our military in every country. And if we can't be in your country, we want to be on your borders. That's something America would never play or let somebody like be in Mexico and have a military aimed at us. You know what I mean? So Russia is just kind of saying that right now, NATO and the US keep trying to lure Ukraine into the NATO. And if they're NATO, that means their military will be in Ukraine, and whatever happens to Ukraine, like Europe and America has to jump in. That's the NATO treaty. So Russia is basically saying, we're kind of showing some aggression because you guys are breaking the treaty with us, saying you guys will never be on our border. And if you bring them into NATO, that's you progressively coming to our border with your military. That's unacceptable. So I'm just curious, how do you guys feel? Who's at fault here? Is it US, Russia? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I totally agree with you saying like the US wants to have its foot in everyone's business. Like I'm saying from someone who my family's from Colombia, like out of all the Latin American countries, like Colombia kisses the United States ass like more than any other Latin American country. And
get that bag.
Yeah, like for example, Panama was a Colombian colony, which was already messed up to begin with. And then America, because they wanted to be able to get past to like get through to the Pacific Ocean without having to go around Argentina, they were like, oh, well, let's try our hand at the Panama Canal. And in order to do that, they like had they convinced the Panamanians to revolt and gain independence from Colombia, which is great and all, but they had ulterior motives.
Yeah.
And from like I'm thinking about Ukraine and Russia, and it's just like for the US to be like in Ukraine's business, I totally understand why Putin's like, hell no, what are you doing here? No, this is like you're in Eastern Europe, like this used to be the Soviet Union. Like Putin said that the Soviet Union collapsing was one of the worst things to ever happen. So I see where he's coming from. That said, it's kind of messed up that like everyone's just like in Ukraine's business, and Ukraine in the meantime is just like, guys, there's nothing going on here. Like, just chill. Everybody chill for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Russia's gonna try to invade because
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they feel like it's a safety concern and they want to be proactive, which there's so much propaganda in our own country. And, you know, I'm American. So, I mean, I'm thankful for the opportunity I have. But freedom of speech, like, it's almost, you're looking as anti-American, but just trying to understand the other side. You know what I mean? Like, they really push it. This is not an anti-American thought. Like, this is how true the definition of America, what it's supposed to be. Freedom of speech, looking at all sides. We would never let an adversarial country, we would not let China or Russia's military in Mexico on our border.
Right.
And, you know, so Russia's basically like, I'm not going to do that. But taking it by force, I do have an issue with, you know what I'm saying? Because Ukraine is its own independent thing, but the US and Europe has a lot of money. And more than just getting them into NATO for protection, they're offering these people money. You know, they're like, well, we have billions of dollars if you guys come this way. And Russia's like, yo, you told us you would never do that. Like, we can't trust you. So to do this, we about to take it over so y'all can't do that. And we're going to build, you know what I'm saying? But they're really concerned about their safety. Not to say that all these countries aren't doing shady things. So I don't agree the tactics that's happening, but we have to look at both sides and, you know, talk with our politicians, like, what could we work out? Because if y'all say Russia is just being aggressive for no reason, like, really show that to us. Like, really explain, okay, Ukraine will not be part of NATO. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that's like completely clear and it's not happening, it's not an option, and Russia's still being aggressive, then yeah, definitely respond to that. But either way, it's not like we can take Ukraine first because it's all our war. So even if Russian military takes over Ukraine, we're not going to physically do anything. What we are going to do as Americans is put sanctions on Russia and try to hurt their economy.
Right.
But nobody wants Russia or China and America to go to a war because that's the end of the world. Like, no matter whose military or things are better, anybody with nuclear weapons can end the world. We don't even want to go to war with North Korea. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that's what Putin has said too. He said that America's goal is to use a confrontation as a pretext to impose more sanctions on Russia.
So I could see how they look. And we got to be careful because everyone has propaganda, including Russia. But I do see that Russia's an adversary for us. So why would America not take any opportunity they can to hurt their economy, to limit what they can do as a competitor?
I mean, there was evidence that Russia used like disinformation tactics that basically helped Trump win the election in 2016. So, I mean, like it's like this passive aggressive sort of Cold War, like without actually saying it's a Cold War, you know?
And that's where Russia is super shady. There is a lot of things that point to them affecting our elections and even cyber hacking. You know what I mean? And that's like, this is what I'm saying. Like, so that could be a pretense where if this is happening, then America's like, well, then we do need to put Ukraine part of NATO because we feel like Russia's planning something, you know? So it really gets to a place, but we all have to remember, like, peace should be number one. Because I think sometimes when you turn into different networks, people are like, oh, Joe Biden, we need to just check Russia. No, we can't just check anybody. Not with nuclear weapons. No, we better be, y'all better be pushing your politicians to find the most peaceful way to do this happen. A lot of wars start because it's like high school. These politicians are trying to look good in front of the people. They don't want to go to war, but they're like, I need to get voted back in and I can't look weak. You know what I mean?
And they also have other interests. Like some of these people have like their campaigns received lots of donations from like corporate interests. So it's just like they're trying to save face for the voters and also for their donors. So
that's absolutely
a lot of layers to that.
Point blank period. The United States wants to have their hand in everything, bro.
Yeah, seriously. Manifest destiny.
It's crazy. Speaking of crazy, this is a nice transition to something crazy. COVID microchips, right? Sweden is like the leader with wanting to bring microchips into the world, right? So they actually have some people where they have microchips, and I'll play the news clip, that these microchips are, you know, they're in your body and they let you know, like if you have COVID, this and that, instead of taking the test. it can be inside you to know COVID. Now, anybody that's, you know, Christian, you're not really comfortable with microchips because that's like a sign of the end of the world stuff, right? And Sweden is famous for already having microchips for people to go to work, unlock doors, this and that. But I do see the COVID pandemic, because I feel like we're in a giant experiment as it is. But I do see that this pandemic could eventually maybe push these microchips into play, because it's like, this is a hard thing to stop fighting. It's gotten to a point where people are running out of tests. Like the government had to do home tests since everybody. And even then that got delayed because people run out of tests. So they might feel like, hey, if you put this chip inside you, we can make sure everyone's healthy. We don't have to do all of this and that, you know. So I'm curious how y'all with the microchips. I'm not with anything microchips just because, man, I read Revelations, man.
yo, microchips, yeah, that's a dub. Right.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a Christian, anything, you should just be looking at that like microchips. Like,
so, I mean, you got people that want to
track
here.
Yeah. No. I that would never happen here. I don't think that would ever happen because the GOP like definitely would be like, ironically, they'd be like, my body, my choice. They're not gonna let it fly.
My body, my choice.
You got the Dr. Marco sound effect on that one, bang.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's definitely not gonna. And I think even Democrats would say the same thing. Like they would not agree with that, you know.
I'm praying, man. I'm praying, but all they need is some mutated variant that be killing people to come out. They'd be like, look, we got this chip. Because I mean, like, I never thought America would quarantine the whole country. You know what I mean? So I am surprised. I never thought we'd be in like masks for so many years. And so I'm kind of like surprised. I kind of don't put nothing past whatever's happening. But fear can get people to do a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. This country is known for like suing people. So even if something like that were to happen, there is bound to be a legal challenge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so our last topic, right? So this is all topic with the controversy, but I was in a Facebook group and they had an interesting discussion about music artists being entitled, right? Are music artists entitled? And so I was going to the discussion trying to get feedback. And it's more like, I guess when people have talent, right? Or you'll have like people that be like, especially with rap, you know? People be like, yo, I'm the best. I do this. Nobody can see me. And that's kind of like when you do music, it's kind of the confidence that you need. But they're saying like these people don't even like sell out shows or tickets, or all they have is like the talent. They expect like everything to just open up and come to them. You know what I'm saying? Without necessarily putting the work because they have the talent, you know? Like even, let me see if I say a situation like, trying to think of like a personal experience. So before I get into that, so my view on it is kind of two ways. One, you need to have the utmost confidence to be an artist. Because one, an art is something that's coming from your soul. That's a creation, right? Mm-hmm. And you're literally presenting your soul out to the world for them to just give whatever type of opinion, whatever they want to say. Right. And they'll say all types of crazy stuff, not knowing how that affects you, the work you put in for that, you know, that to happen. So I'm on two sides of like, well, you have to have that because that's what's going to make you successful. And you got to be strong because people are just picking apart your art, your soul, your baby. But also in the same aspect is, oh, like I've been in the studio with like people that they just be freestyling on the block and they feel like they God's gift to the world. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, bro, like you know what I mean? You know? Yeah, and everything's not about numbers, but it's just like, yo, like you're not even doing numbers. Like, can you get someone to show up to a show and stuff like that? Like, so how do you like, where is the humility at the same part? You know, like, can we be confident and also have humility, you know? And that's why we're all artists here, and what I respect about y'all is y'all do have humility into what y'all do, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we can all feel like we stand out the most. And like, I love battle rap. I'm a big fan of battle rap. We're gonna bring some battle rap to the app. But as far as doing real music that's outside of battle rap, being better than another artist will not help you. Like, I had to teach so many of my friends. They'll talk about like Soulja Boy, Kodak Black. Listen, you being better than Kodak Black doesn't feed your family.
Thank you.
You standing out and making great content and grinding, you know what I mean? That's what's gonna feed them. So y'all can look at Soulja Boy all y'all want, like da-da-da, but you being better doesn't help. You standing out. So me personally, I started seeing more success in my career when I decide, how can I stand out? I don't want to be like, I'm better than you, I'm better than you.
Right.
Nobody could be better at Wraith than being Wraith. Nobody could be better at Natica than being Natica. So we all have our ways to stand out. And that's why we all make dope music together, because we stand out in our own different ways, you know?
I think part of that also has to do with the fact that people, a lot of times artists pay too much attention to their competition. Because I feel like when you pay too much attention to your competition, you tend to do things. First of all, you tend to do things out of your element. And when you're an artist, it's all about staying in your element, staying true to yourself, and being, even when it comes to your music, because people will recognize the fake from the real. So, you know, I think if you look at the top artists, they're very good at being in their own element, and they're very good at, you know, they're also very, there's a confidence to them. There's a confidence to them. It's like a little bit of entitlement there, but there's also a humbleness to them, because they know where they come from, and they know how hard they have worked to get to where they're at. So they can have that entitlement. I think when you put the work in, even if you're in the process of putting in the work, you can have that, and you have credentials to back it up. You can have that entitlement. But for people that, like you said, to just freestyle on the corner, and that's all they do, you know, for you to have that entitlement and not have, you know, the other aspect of it, which is to be humble, you know, because it's all about balance. It's all about being balanced, and then being able to maintain both. Because you don't want to be too humble, you know, to the point where anybody could just walk all over you, you know, because it is a competitive, like, it is a competitive sport, you know. So you want to be able to hold your own, but you also don't want to be cocky. You also don't want to be too cocky to the point where you feel like you're the best and you don't have the credentials to back it up. So I just look at the top artists. Like, the top artists, they have the credentials to back it up, but they're also very, from what I see, they're also very, you know, humble, and, you know, they know where they come from.
Yeah.
Like,
speaking from experience, like, an example of this would be, I went to a performing arts high school in New York City, and I was surrounded by talented people. And I always felt like I fell short of, like, you know, standing out, because I would, like, I feel like to this day, I have some friends who are like, oh, wow, you write songs and stuff. Because, like, I never really made waves back then. But I was, like, constantly comparing myself to the people around me, and, like, people who act entitled. And I think entitled has, like, a negative connotation. People who act entitled, like, it comes from a place of insecurity. And it comes like I personally speaking, as I've gotten older and as I've been making music and stuff, like, once you stop comparing yourself to other people and just, like, focus on your own path, like, only, like, you will begin to shine. And as corny as that sounds, it's like, it's true, you know, like, people will see you as you are. And as long as you're authentic with yourself and you maintain humility, and you know, like you said, Wraith, maintaining that balance between being humble but also being confident that you have what it takes is what makes the difference. Yeah,
like, I think a while back, I've actually made a YouTube video discussing how, you know, people use Instagram for the wrong reasons. You know, like, most people, they use the social media platforms for the wrong reasons. they don't use it as a tool to invest in themselves. They just use it to compare their life to someone else's.
Right.
So a lot of these artists do the same thing. They don't really promote themselves how they should.
Right.
They don't really come out with music that's true to them, music that they like, you know, it's just a whole lot of comparison. It's just a whole lot of, you know, and it's just a whole lot of people just watching other people on the internet instead of focusing on themselves. You know, that's why a lot of times people never reach the level that they're supposed to get to, because they're spending the majority of their time watching someone else on Instagram, looking at tweets,
right?
You know, instead of working on themselves. You know, when you work on yourself, you could get somewhere. I believe that. You know, when you work on yourself, you know, day in and day out, you can get somewhere. You can become the individual that you want to. But when you spend the majority of your time on Instagram, watching other people's stuff, especially if it's something that's not important. If you're not watching something that's gonna benefit you, that's gonna help you on your purpose, then you shouldn't even be watching it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just how it is nowadays. People just like watching other people for no reason.
You bring up a good point about like social media. Like,
yes,
I remember I went to a show once and there was a headliner, and this headliner had like 10,000 followers on Instagram. But for some reason, they didn't bring anyone to the show. There was like a very small group of people that came to see her.
Yeah. And
I remember she performed, and like her core group, and it was like 4 people. They like huddled up close to her with the cameras and stuff. And like, she's just like, you know, doing her thing. And like, meanwhile, like I'm standing back and I'm like, where's her crowd? Where are her fans? Meanwhile, like the people that came with like people who were performing, like they brought the majority of the people. Yes. Granted, maybe she was from out of town, who knows, but like that, you know, you focus so much on social media, but you forget that like it matters more when you're out there in the real world. Yes. And like, just because you're like, oh, follow for follow, or like my post, like that doesn't do anything. It's more about engagement, building community online. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have, as long as people are engaged, as long as you aren't like rotting people's brains with like stupid content. And that is subjective. You know, I'm not saying anything specific here, but like, you know, community is a lot more important. And I think that's what separates certain artists from other artists. You know, everyone has their own audience, and there's no need to compete, like, you know.
And you know what you kind of bring up too is I think is an interesting thing, because beyond entitled, there's complacency, right? So when people build, like you said, they have like this, I have this following on Instagram, oh, I just went viral on TikTok, this and that. But they, like, people are just settling for clout, and they're not doing anything. Like, I can't have 1 million streams and not be able to buy a house. That don't make sense. And then that comes with not being complacent. That's realizing, hey, I have 1 million streams. I can leverage this to do business here. But you have people that's like, I got 1 million streams, I'm lit, and then kick back. And then you feel entitled that why are doors not opening? Why is this not happening? Why am I struggling? You know what I mean? And some of these people won't listen to advice. Like, you know, when you try to get business advice, you don't need 1 million streams or 1 million people if you want to talk about wealth to be a millionaire. You know what I mean? You just have to have your core, your true fans. And that comes with you being consistent, you standing out, not focused on the competition. Sometimes you look to see, okay, what's going on out there? What are people gravitated to? But being focused on yourself, making sure you could be the best you can be. Because it is insecurity when it's like you have to keep saying you're the best. Because if you have to say that, it means you don't feel like enough people around you are saying that. So you have to say it. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's better when you're making moves and people say it for you. Like, even with you, Natica, I think, you know, you're super humble in the aspect. Like, we did an event in the show and you brought out a good crowd. And you don't even have, like, you know, a lot of music out on Spotify yet.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But you're moving as a professional. You know, even how you said you went to school with it, right? And you're thinking about, you know, you're like, yo, I'm not really like standing out with these people, but you're preparing how you're going to come in. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that Wraith does is he strategizes. You know what I mean? Instead of just coming in, because what irritates me as a professional music artist is when you have all these people that are unprofessional running around talking about they the best and stuff like that. And now the fans, they don't even know what to think when they see professional artists coming up because they're so used to these unprofessionals claiming they're professional. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more than just, hey, I can freestyle. Like, yo, can you make a song? Can you put it together? And like, you saying something?
And here's the secret. It's like, yo, the best still feel like they're a work in progress.
Always. Because you want to stay the best, so you got to learn. Like, if you number one, you like, I need to keep learning so I can stay number one. You know what's harder than becoming number one? Staying number one. You know what I mean? So when I see people entitled, like I told, like I even did audio engineering for people, and I'll be more numbers, more bigger shows and stuff like that. But I humble myself, like I have audio engineering ability. Let me do this, and they'll be acting like they God's gift. And in my head, I was like, oh, they're not gonna make it. They're not even ready. They don't even understand what the world is. It's like being a teenager thinking they're ready for the world. Like, I was sheltered your whole life. Like, you don't even know what the world is. You about to get 8 out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, you have to be ready and understand that this is not the music place. This is the music business.
Yeah.
If you do not have your business together and you're not taking the time to learn and be professional, you will not make it. And if you do, you sold your soul and your body.
Yeah. I went to college for classical music, and having studied classical voice, like I had to unlearn a lot of things after graduating, because like when I was in that environment, like I had to learn about very specific like Western classical music, and then like the proper way of singing. And there was like that being in that environment was an invitation for a lot of judgmental thinking. Like, oh, you don't sing this certain way, therefore some of the other types of music is like generally frowned upon. And not that I walked in there like, oh yeah, I'm going to like eschew whatever other type of music. Like I went in there because I wanted to study classical voice and become a better singer, knowing that I wanted to apply those skills to other genres. I love listening to all types of music, but nevertheless, like I remember graduating, and like within a week of graduating, I was just like, I had like an internal crisis. Like I realized I didn't know anything. Like my college degree was just a piece of paper. And like in the 7 years since I graduated from college, like I've learned so much and I'm still learning. And like, that's what separates someone who has like that growth mindset versus someone who's just like, I'm all set. Like, you don't got to tell me anything.
Yeah. Like seriously, because it really be like, and again, where I have to give you props is just like, some people will feel entitled and they're not even like, oh, I don't got to rehearse. I could just do this. I'm gonna just go in. Like I said, you're someone that doesn't even have many songs on Spotify yet. That's moving on a high professional level. You're bringing people to the shows. You have a band, y'all rehearsing and y'all getting your stuff together. So not only is it you, but your band is actually having their stuff together. You know what I mean? And that takes professional entitlement. And if you get too entitled or complacent as an artist, you're not going to make it, because there's people out there putting that work. And if you just feel like you're the best and people are supposed to come, you're not going to put the effort into getting people out for the show, because you just feel like, look, I'm God's gift. They're just going to show up. And it won't work like that. Because I'm telling you, you can fill up a place in New York and somebody from California will see you. Even if you don't got fans in Cali, they'll be like, yo, I like what you did in New York. I'm bringing you out to Cali on tour. Like that literally happened to me in a different state. They brought me to a state I had no fans because they seen what I did in one city, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned something that I didn't even think about, but like you said, oh yeah, I have a band. Like I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for the people around me literally supporting me, because you know, there's no such thing as a self-made person. Like it's such BS, you know, it's a community.
It really is. I'm glad you said that, because I can't believe we almost ended the talk without saying that. Yes, people remember. Because no, look, people will look on camera and see one person like they did it and they think they can't. No, the best thing you need to do is build a team. Build a team. And to build a team means you have to be a team player. Stop acting like you guys give to earth. You know what I mean? You have to work with other people, pay attention to their needs too as well, just like your own, and they will give that support back. Like I'm known for supporting everyone I possibly can, and the love comes back. Like I'd be wondering, why do these people show me the love? But I give out that same love and support, and then people come back, because you need a team, because they can tell somebody that tells somebody, and then they'll actually show up and be there for you. But they have to see, one, to believe in you, they have to see the consistency. They got to see that you're not going to give up. And I've had certain times in my career where I changed my mind too much, and then I would lose people. And I got it back, and I didn't realize, I'm like, it's my life, I can do what I want. But you have to realize, if you want people to believe in you, you have to stay consistent with it, because then they'll fall off. They're like, why am I going to invest my time, energy, and money into this person if they're going to wake up tomorrow and have a new goal or a new dream or something like that? And I'm speaking from a person of experience, not to talk ish. That happened to me. I just decided, yo, I'm going to do this now one day. I'm going to do this. And then I started realizing, why am I losing fans? Why am I losing people? But when I came back and stayed consistent, like, this is what I'm going to do. And if I take other routes, know that this is still my focus, but I'm going to do these routes to get us here. Now you have the support, because they know, all right, if I put my energy into this person, it's going to pay off. It's going to be reciprocated. So artists, I encourage you guys, go to other people's show and support them, so they can go to your shows and support you.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Family and friends y'all say y'all have them support. Like, it's more than just hanging out. Like, my friends know, bro, we can't just hang out all the time. Like, we got to come out here, you know what I mean? Support what I'm doing. I will support what you're doing, but we can't just, like, we too grown to just sit there and not make no sense. Like, just sit there for no reason. Just look at each other's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, granted, with everything happening right now, it's been really hard to like go out and support people, but hopefully with like the weather getting warmer, COVID cases going down, COVID restrictions relaxing, it'll be a lot easier to go out and support your friends.
Exactly. And then even, support them online. You know what I mean? Like,
that is a given.
Yeah, people will support these strangers way fast, Like, a like is free. I see somebody hold on a like in comments, like, they're gonna lose some of their bank account. Like, like, it's free. Like, just do it, and then you will get that in return. Like, no matter what you believe in, that's karma. That's energy that just comes back around. You know what I mean? So, I encourage artists, if you want to make it, build your team. Don't be entitled. Don't compare yourself to others. Be the best you can be, because you're going to lose the fight trying to be better than somebody. Right. You can't be better than that person at what they do. You have to find out, what are your standout qualities? This is what I can do to stand out. And then you up. You know what I'm saying? But now we had like a very, very dope episode, talking about a lot of controversy. We're definitely going to talk about some more keys to success. Like, next episode, we're going back to the keys. There's just so much news, controversy, and topics that we got to address these topics. I know y'all want to know our reaction. And if you made it this far, make sure y'all hit that like button. You know what I mean? Shoot us a comment. Let us know what you like, what your thoughts are on these topics. Don't just sit there watching us like silently. That's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Let us know.
Kind of creepy.
People just be creeping on your page like, yo, it's okay to say hi. You know what I mean? Hi, we love you. You guys let them know on any platforms that they can follow that y'all trying to push, whether it be like Instagram, YouTube, or whatever.
Oh, y'all go follow me on Instagram at Wraith_Cooper. Underscores. Yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay. So that's all y'all get for free. Becoming
you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on Facebook. Natica Music, Natica Music.
Yes, I will follow you on TikTok today.
I gotta figure out a way to become a fan of TikTok, because
just watch videos. You'll figure out the gist of it.
It's so hard. I'm not gonna lie, boy, I hate TikTok, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I mean, it's really easy to like duet or use sounds that already exist. It's a super easy way to just like make content.
For real. Yeah. We're about to do a TikTok for bachata. It's on there too.
Yeah, actually, that's like TikTok is the best way right now to promote music.
Music, yeah. And we're gonna do that. And make sure y'all follow me at The Real Cater down on Instagram. Click on that link tree. I just updated my link tree. It's looking real cute right now. You know what I'm saying?
Cute right now.
Start playing with the colors, you know, razzle dazzle. But in the link tree, it definitely has a way that you can get to the Love First TV app to download. That way you can get to our YouTube channel and anything you want to do. But I definitely encourage you, download that app, man. Every week you see us, you know, increasing, like where we're building our success. We're teaching you guys everything we know in real time. And also even with our podcast, pretty soon, before the year is out, it's only going to be exclusively on the app. You know what I mean? So right now we're still going to put out other platforms and give y'all a chance, you know, to all download the app. But to get this content, y'all gonna have to start going to that Love First TV app, and we have amazing content on there. So make sure y'all download the app, hit subscribe, follow us on social media, and you know, reach out to us with any questions, any topics you want us to react to. We love you guys. We appreciate the support. And remember, why hate when you can love first? It's the Love First podcast. Yeah.
Sir.
What up, everyone? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell for the latest podcasts, music videos, and comedy skits. We got a lot more content coming your way.
We here all day, baby.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel, baby.
We gotta show love first like a podcast. When the work is trying to make